Traci right here today, coming at you with a layout for Sketchy Sunday. I believe this is Sketchy Sunday number 39. Yeah, so here is the sketch, and today I'm going to be using the My Oasis collection because I'm scrapbooking more house renovation photos. These photos are from when I got up on a 16-foot ladder to paint our entryway. It was this ugly 90s or 2000 cafe au lait brown kind of a color. It was like the only brown in our house is the hallway and the entryway, and I know why, because painting the entryway was quite a task. I got a sprayer and we sprayed everything white except for our front door is a deep almost a black, and then this beautiful green that I painted other places in my house. But I'm using these photos with this sketch because I really like how all of the vertical paper strips really re-emphasize the height in these photos. So again, I'm going to be using the My Oasis collection, and I have taken the sketch and scaled it down to life crafted size. So I have my conversions here on the sketch. There are paper sizes, but when I resized it, it changed the dimensions. So I have what it actually was and then what I'm going to scale it to for these pages. So let's get started. All right, putting this layout together was super fun. I loved reaching back into this collection and seeing it again. I designed this collection when we bought this house while we were waiting to move in. So it reflects all of my emotion and the style that I actually decorate my house in. This collection was literally made for these photos and this house. So I loved diving back in and seeing how I could use it for this new page. I'm trimming down these paper scraps that I have in my stash because, you know, I don't like wasting anything. So if I already have a paper scrap, then I'm going to use it. And I'm trimming them down to the correct size on my paper that I pulled out. And I'm also going to use this heart journal bit you can see right there instead of that tag as a place to add my journaling in. So I'm just arranging these in the order that they're supposed to be in, making sure that they are all the right size, and I'm going to put them in the right place. I wanted this nice pop of bold stripe as well. Okay, so I got all of my paper strips cut, and I'm gonna go through, and I was gonna do maybe a colored background for this, but I decided that a clean white background with this really clean white collection would look pretty good and reflect my house pretty well. I was painting the walls white. It was this really ugly cafe au lait sort of color that didn't go with the beautiful green that I had picked out for the doorway and the rest of the house, or a lot of the rest of the house. So white it was. So the background makes sense. White, you can see I'm just kind of contemplating here what I wanted to use, and I'm just going to pull in some white cardstock and add my holes before I start putting these photos down so that I can avoid the holes. They're just going to go a little bit wider, I think, than going directly down the center and making everything evenly spaced. So I've got everything done. I'm like, wait, I cut one of these too tall, so I decided to trim it down and make it work. But I just love the orientation of this sketch and how fun it is with these super tall photos. So I'm gonna put all of the paper pieces down now. Then I'm going to add in my title. I had two wood grain alphabets, and I decided that this lighter one would work better with this page. So this is going to be my main part of my title, and the title is going to be Actually Climbing the Walls, which I was doing. My husband is afraid of heights, so this was all up to me, which is fine because I was the one that wanted it done anyway. So here I am up on our entryway. Literally climbing the walls. So I decided to pull out some old Cocoa Daisy alphabets that kind of match this collection as well. I wanted to do the darker one, but I did not have enough. I don't think I had E's or whatever in that one. So I'm going to go with the lighter one, and I'm going to start at the outside edge of what I want my title to be. So it says Actually Climbing Up the Walls. Of course, I got to rearrange things because that's how I roll. And then the next line is going to be in a different alphabet. I decided to go with another Cocoa Daisy alphabet in a different font in this yellow color that matches the collection. So I've got actually climbing up the walls. So that is the basis for this layout. That is like the basis of the sketch. Now we have some clustering to do. I have sorted out all of my die cuts by what they are, and I'm going to use these flowers from the digital kit that I printed out for a different project. I'm going to use them as the basis for my 3 main clusters, as well as some word strips that I have pulled out that sort of match the theme. You can see everything I decided didn't match the theme is over there on the left-hand side, so this is kind of my process, how I scrapbook. I pull everything out that I think I might use from the collection and then put things aside in the discard pile as I decide they're not going to work. So I wanted that shelf, but it says Home Sweet Home, just like the sign I want to use says, so I put that aside, but I'm actually going to bring it back and incorporate it into this cluster towards the end of the video. You can see I'm contemplating here what I want. And I also wanted to use some of these bohemian pieces just as accent pieces in my clusters. So I've kind of got the basis here for what I want my clusters to look like. I decided that for my page specifically, especially since there was so much white space down there in the bottom right hand corner with the 2 patterns that I chose, I needed another cluster down there in that corner so that the page felt anchored. And so now I'm going to go through and I'm going to slowly add in piece by piece. I'm going to use these, and not enamel dots, these puffy squares from scrapbook.com, and I'm going to actually stick down all of the foam squares on the back of these flowers ahead of time because, man, it takes me forever to peel those backings off. So I just went ahead and turned off my camera and adhered foam squares and pulled off all the backings just all at once because it literally takes forever. Okay, so that says Love Makes the House a Home, and then I'm going to add Home Sweet Home down here. I really liked the word strip that said Renovate too, but I didn't want to add too many word strips because there are a lot of words and this giant title all, you know, together on this page, so I didn't want to add too much. So just 1 per cluster is apparently not too much for me. Here we go, adding in 1 more, and I decided that I needed some leaves with these flowers. I thought that that would look better, so I'm going to add some leaves into those clusters here in a second as well. As soon as I figure out what I want to do down here. I knew, so that house specifically that I drew for this collection actually looks a lot like the front of our house, so I like using it for the photos that I have of our house. So I wanted to make sure that I incorporated that, but I'm going to pull this Home Sweet Home underneath so that I just have the shelf and the flowers sticking out. I'm going to use these leaves because I like the pop of black and white that it gives the page. To pull up these little bohemian half circles, and I'll put it back down a little lower. All right, so repeat the process with the rest of the clusters, and I really think that those added a lot to the page, made them, almost grounded them and made them stand out a little bit better. There's a lot of, the patterns are so like light and airy, it's really easy to mistake them for not being busy, but they're pretty busy patterns, especially that house pattern, so I like the way that that pulled away. So the last thing I'm going to do is I'm going to add in some string little clustery poof things, and then also I have these sequins from Catherine Pooler. It's the Mazatlan sequin mix that just matches this line so gorgeously, but rather than put them down in like, you know, like a triad like I like to do with enamel dots, I'm going to put them down in big globs, kind of like not even like I don't know, like just sequin blobs, and I think that that adds a really cool bling to this photo or to this page that kind of breaks up how, like, the whole point of these clusters is to break up the sterile straight lines of the paper strips, so it kind of adds to that as well. So you can see I'm just putting down a ton of glue and then just dropping sequins down. Now you want to use a strong adhesive for this. I use my Nuvo liquid glue, and then I also like tapped my my pages down on on the counter a few times to make sure that they weren't falling off, or that whatever was gonna fall off fell off while I was still adding, and then I was all done. So if you enjoyed this video, I'd love it if you give it a thumbs up. If you're new here, go ahead and subscribe. I would love to have you. If you don't already, you can follow me over on Instagram. I'm at Traci Reed. I'd love to see you there as well. There's a link to the sketch challenge and other examples using the sketch in the description box below. All right, thank you.